So, I have just got done watching the 13th episode of Star Wars The Bad Batch titled Infested, and now it is time to review it. So, join me, Lucamus Prime, and my best friend Oppo Ranscisis as we review this episode together. So yeah, we're going to be talking about it today's episode, so yeah. Anyway, cue the intro. Alright guys, so as always I'm going to let Oppo Ranscisis share his thoughts on the episode first, so I'll let him talk about it. And if you're not ready guys, please consider subscribing to his channel, because he deserves lots of support. He does amazing content that you'll never regret watching, so yeah. I'll have a link to him in the description below for you to go and click on so you can go subscribe to him and give him support, so yeah. Anyway, take it away, Oppo.
Hello there. This is Oppo. Wait, what are we doing here? Are we having a dance competition? No, wait. Yes, we're reviewing The Bad Batch, a new episode, a fantastic episode, which for some reason people such as Star Wars Fury appear to dislike a little, and I understand why. I've watched his review right now. He seems to think it's a little slower in pace, and we're at this moment. But no, I really like these sorts of episodes if they're done correctly, which, I didn't like the third episode, and I didn't like many of the Crosshair episodes that many people seem to love. Like, I didn't like the one where he confronts the Bad Batch. Cad Bane was a nice little surprise at the end of that one. I really liked that, and it made the episode. But otherwise, it might have been my least favorite episode in the entire show so far. It was a very boring one to me. So I'm glad we're getting these interesting episodes, especially dealing with the crime families, with the crime syndicates, obviously with the Pike Syndicate again. A very important syndicate in Star Wars, very important species, very important race, very important crime family, very important mob, whatever you want to call it. But in the Clone Wars, a very important role, Lom Pike, who was voiced by Matt Lanter, actually. Then you have Mark Krim, who was voiced by Steven Stanton. Obviously, you have Five, who was also voiced by D. Bradley Baker. And now we have this new Pike leader, who I also really liked, who is voiced by Liam O'Brien. And this, I kept guessing who is doing the voice, because it sounded a lot like Mark Krim in that it had this sort of speech pattern to him, and I was like, is that Steven? But no, there were many moments where it sounded nothing like Steven, and the modulation sounded quite grievously / Cad Bane-y, so it was even less recognizable. But I really like this Pike character, and actually, I knew that they weren't gonna go full dark, just because even the Clone Wars never went so full dark where you had someone get decapitated with a knife. But I must say that even though I knew it I was very sure that no, they aren't gonna do this. When they actually did it, and when we heard the chop noise, I actually thought the Deveronian got decapitated. Now, it doesn't really. I realized that it very quickly, even before they showed that wouldn't happen, because it wouldn't make sense story-wise, given all of the development and sympathy we gave him and so on. So I realized, no, the show isn't gonna go there, but it had me for a bit. I'm not gonna lie, it really did. So, but it had me in the first half, but then obviously I realized that it's not gonna happen. But I really did like the idea with the horn and the chopping off of the horn, because that's something that's kind of pre-established already, because we already saw, for instance, I believe Cicatro Vizago in Rebels doesn't have a horn and so on, and a lot of that stuff happens all the time with Deveronians, where they kind of have chopped off horns and so on. So there was a fun little thing there. I really liked how the two characters, the ones who I believe were introduced in the Mertez arc in Clone Wars, the two prisoners, the Weequay and the Thorian, how they were utilized here. I really liked how they helped the main characters. Obviously, they exposed them in the end, but I think they did their job well. I think we we even expecting this of them would have been a little too much, but no, they were fantastic. And Sid in this episode was especially great. Might be my favorite episode of hers in terms of actually doing something and being productive. Obviously, I love her a little more in the others for some of the better jokes, but in this one, she was the most active. She was the most understanding of their situation. And yeah, I think she was fantastic in this episode. I really liked the way they used her. And is that it? Oh, I really like the scary creatures. What I liked about them is we barely saw them. I don't think we actually saw them at all. At least I didn't spot them. We see barely. It's like the Minox, where we see very little of them. But I did like how we had the green blood explosions with the dark, combined with the dark, that contrast, that color scheme, that color pattern. That was fantastic. And I really liked how little we saw of them. It was great cinematography and great use of the darkness. And I really liked the mine carts, and overall I really enjoyed this episode. Is there more I wish to say here? Or is that it? I think that's it, pretty much. I think I've covered the main points. I don't think there was much beyond that, was there? Speaking of, the Deveronian I actually wanted to speak more about, because I really liked his character, actually. I hated him at first. I felt he would be boring, repetitive, generic, but over time I grew sympathetic to him. I really enjoyed how he plays with the little pet, how he's kind of cute, and the voice actor did a good job. So that's all I was to say. Thank you. This was Oppo Ranscisis, and now you're gonna hear from the Prime himself, the Prime of all primes, my good friend Lucamus Prime.
Alright guys, so now it's up to me to review this episode. So yeah, now fantastic review as always, Oppo. So yeah, now I'm going to talk about it. So this episode was very different to the last couple of episodes, because unlike the previous two, which were centered primarily on Ryloth, this episode appears to be focusing very, very much so on Ord Mantell. So yeah, this episode takes place entirely in Ord Mantell. So yeah, so the episode begins with a Bad Batch returning from a mission, which we can assume is probably returning from Ryloth, maybe. I think, but we never really confirm what they were coming back from. And they go to Sid's parlour, and they find it has way more patrons than usual, and it's under new management by someone called Roland Durand. So yeah, now Roland is a very interesting character, because he's like a green Devaronian. Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, Devaronian. Yeah. Which we've seen before in many different stars. For example, we saw one in the canteen scene in A New Hope, smiling menacingly, and we also, of course, saw one called Berg in the Mandalorian chapter called The Prisoner, played by Clancy Brown. So yeah, but this one was pretty unique. Yeah, voiced by Tom Taylorson. Yeah, that's his name, and yeah, he was a pretty interesting character, though, I'm not gonna lie, and he was voice acted really well by Taylorson, absolutely, and so they look for Sid, and they can't find her, so they ask Roland where she is, but he says that she's out of business. So yeah, they leave the parlour to find her, but they see her on a ship. Yeah, I think it was their ship that she was on, yeah. And Sid reveals that she's planning to take back her parlour, and what she wants to do to take it back is by stealing a shipment of spice, which is intended for a species known as the Pikes, yeah, and which Roland is going to be delivering to them. So yeah, the Pikes were very interesting creatures, really were. Voiced, I believe it was by Liam O'Brien. Yeah, I think it was Liam O'Brien, yeah. But yeah, and they want this spice, so what they do is they have to enter Sid's back office, but due to the fact that Roland has loads of guards around, they have to go underground to get to Sid's back office. So they enter via some tunnels, but the problem is, guys, the tunnels are not safe because they're full of like bugs, and yeah, hence why the episode is called Infested, because the tunnels are infested with loads of bugs called, I think it was called Earlings, but yeah, they remind me an awful lot of spiders due to the webs and stuff like that. And that entire sequence was really scary, to be honest, because, you know, for those of you who don't know, I've actually got a phobia of insects. So yeah, I just can't stand insects at all, really. They do my head in. And this episode didn't really help at all, really, because they creeped me out so much. But yeah, it was so creepy, and it was very dark as well. So during this sequence, they're able to successfully get the spice, but the bad news is they get chased down by Roland's guards that are there, and this ends up triggering a hive of these creatures. And during this, however, as they're trying to escape, they unfortunately lose the spice, and it falls down deep into, you know, the abyss of the webs and stuff like that. So yeah, it's lost. As they escape, however, they're caught by the pikes who've arrived, you know, for the shipment, because Roland hasn't given them, yeah. And they order him to get it to them because they say that, you know, if you fight them, then you're going to really regret it. And Sid says that if you fight them, you're going to wish you'd rather be dead. So the pikes take Omega hostage and order the Bad Batch and Sid to retrieve the spice from the hive. So yeah, and Hunter is very against the idea of Omega being hostage with, you know, with the pikes. And so is the rest of the Bad Batch, you know, they say it's not going to happen, but Sid encourages them to give Omega to them because Omega, you know, because if they didn't give Omega to him, then they're going to wish they'd rather be dead, yeah. So yeah. So they head back down into the tunnels, and they go into the hive to find the spice. And after several struggles with the bugs, because lots of them swarm out, and that really gave me the creeps, because I've got a phobia of insects. It really gave me the creeps, guys. It was so scary. And they're able to find the spice, and during this we got to see a little conversation between Roland and Omega. And Omega notices a gun lying on the floor, and Roland can tell by her eyesight that she's looking at it to try and grab it to use as a weapon, but Roland encourages her not to, saying that they'll get killed. Even though, if the spice isn't brought back, they'll be dead anyway. So yeah, it's a very sad situation, isn't it? Then after that, the Bad Batch luckily successfully get the spice, and as they get hoisted upwards, more swarms of the Earlings come, and that gave them the creeps. Oh god, it was scary. Yeah. But luckily they're able to successfully get the spice out of the hive, and they give it to the pikes. So yeah, but yeah, this was just, you know, so creepy, real, to be honest. And yeah, I think that's when the episode ended, and it looks like Sid may have got her parlour back from the look of things. Yeah, they were able to drive Roland out. Yeah. But yeah, she might probably reclaim it in the next episode. We might, you know, confirm it properly in that episode. So yeah. But yeah, all in all though, this was a very good episode. Yeah, and yeah. Jurand was able to leave thanks to, you know, the pikes allowing him to live, but there was one penalty that happened, really. They allowed him to live, but at the cost of losing one of his horns. So yeah, now this really wasn't what I expected to happen, because when they got the knife to, you know, slash his horn, I thought they were going to cut his head off and, you know, decapitate him, but nope. They instead cut off his horn. Now that was pretty surprising and pretty creepy, but yeah. After this, he was able to leave, and I think that's when Sid was allowed to have her parlour back. So yeah, that was a good thing, I guess. So yeah, I don't know if we'll be seeing him again. I don't know if he's like a one-time guest character, like how, you know, Cut and Rex were. I have no idea. Of Senator on Ranscisis, I have no idea if he'll return, maybe. But yeah, he was a very interesting character, and I really enjoyed him. So yeah. So yeah, all in all, guys, this was a pretty good episode. It was very enjoyable, but I think the sequence in the tunnels was scary because I've got a phobia, and it dragged a bit. But yeah, all in all, it was very enjoyable, to be honest. And yeah, now we've only got 3 episodes left of the show, guys. So yeah, I can't believe it's almost over. So yeah, can't wait for episode 14, guys, which I believe is called War Mantle. So yeah, this will be very exciting because the show's almost over. I'm also wondering if they'll do a series 2, maybe, for all I know, but I'm not sure if we'll be able to, really, to be honest. But yeah, this was a good episode. Really enjoyed it, yeah. So guys, this is me reviewing the 13th episode of Star Wars: The Bad Batch called Infested alongside Oppo Ranscisis. So yeah, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to comment what you guys thought of today's episode if you've seen it. Also, be sure to subscribe to Oppo, like I told you at the start of the video, to give him some support because Alexander deserves it. He's amazing. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos coming in the future by joining Team Prime. And press the notification bell for more videos coming in the future. And may the Force be with you always.